What is up, Bat Family, and welcome to Batman Theory, where we take a deep dive into comic books, movies, cartoons, and everything in between that has to do with the Dark Knight. Guys, before we get started, we are a brand new channel bringing you your daily dose of Batman, and in order to do so, we appreciate if you like our content, subscribe to the channel if you like it enough, and you automatically are entered into a giveaway we're doing. Once we reach 1,000 subscribers, we are giving away backlit Batman sign to one lucky subscriber. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel and comment on a video. Let's get right to it. So guys, in today's episode of Batman Theory, I want to talk to you guys about something kind of fun. It's Easter Sunday, and in honor of that, I'd like to talk to you guys about something a little campier with Batman, and in order to do so, we have to go all the way back to 1966. That's right, I want to talk about Adam West's Batman Bat Utility Belt. So the biggest thing the Bat Utility Belt was really famous for was its wide variety, and honestly, he probably had the most variety of any Batman ever, with how many different things he's used in his Batman Utility Belt. And honestly, the Utility Belt's become kind of a running gag for some fans, and honestly, I couldn't agree more in certain aspects, but if you take it with a grain of salt, it is kind of a fun little thing. Batman always seems to have exactly what he needs in his Utility Belt. Adam West plays it with just the right amount of campiness, and I want to get deep into what actually he has in the Utility Belt, and it's pretty vast. There's a lot of different things that the 120 episodes that span 3 years actually shows. Batman at the time was #1 TV show out there, extremely popular, had a popular movie, and a lot of things were used. And yes, we will get to the best of them all, the shark repellent spray. Let's get right to it. So first and foremost, when the show first aired on ABC in 1966, it didn't really have a big budget. They didn't really know exactly how popular the show would be. So the design and makeup of the belt were originally built in the show out of cleaning sponges. It is actually something I didn't know until I really started looking into this deeper, and I find really interesting because even though Batman became this monster success for a few years, it was, at the time, very small budget, and there are a few shots where sponges were used. Later on, wooden blocks replaced it, and then they were covered with leather and spray painted with yellow gloss latex paint. The belt actually really popularized the separate pouches for Batman in his utility belt. Before that, he didn't show it nearly as often in that sense. The belt consists of 4 rectangular shaped pouches that held various contents, and depending on the episode of what was needed, there would always be seemingly something that he would use. There's always 2 cylinder pouches as well, holding vials of certain gases and liquids. And finally, there was a large square bat buckle in the center of the belt with a bat emblem on it. As far as contents of the belt, we'll get to each one and kind of talk about what they were used for. So first and foremost, and the most famous of everything, was the Batarang. And Adam West's version for the TV show, it was a non-lethal means to disarm an opponent. Or it could also be attached to a rope and used as a grappling hook to scale tall buildings. So we also have the Bat Shield, which was used obviously to shield Batman from different projectiles thrown at him by enemies. It could be attached to the Batmobile on the front or back. That was first mentioned in Season 1. We also have the Bat Hook, like I said, could be attached with the Batarang and be climbed up. Could be climbed up certain different walls. We have the Bat Cuffs, featured in all 3 seasons, where you could arrest perpetrators and take them to the police. We have the Bat Laser Gun, which is a very unique one. The Bat Laser Gun has actually had more uses than I'd probably care to admit. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I actually really do like the 1960s Batman TV show. It's just some of the things are a little ludicrous, but like I said, grain of salt. We have the Bat Gauge to weigh certain things, test the weight and strength of certain things. We, of course, have smoke pellets, which is a staple from the very beginning. These are the staple for Batman. We have the Bat Homing Transmitter, which is used a lot during the show. Essentially, can be placed on vehicles or persons, and mostly vehicles in the show. And Batman can track where they are. And of course, he's always carrying currencies, carrying cash and money around. You gotta buy certain things, you never know. Crime always is calling, so you gotta make sure you always have money just in case. You have the Bat Communicator, which allows Batman to talk to Robin, Alfred and Wayne Manor, and various other people. We have the Climbing Claws, and I honestly cannot recall when these were used, but according to this chart, they were used in Season 1. I honestly cannot remember the episode on this one. I'll take their word for it. This is one that does not ring a bell to me. We have the Bat Binoculars, and these are interesting because This would become very popular actually in the 60s and 70s for Batman to use binoculars, and later on in the 80s and 90s he gets more futuristic tech for it, but not these ugly abominations they got here for binoculars. But it is interesting. This is, from what I understand, really the first time he uses binoculars more often than we're used to seeing, that's for sure. We have the Bat key to start the Batmobile, of course. We have, of course, underneath the Bat emblem on the center belt buckle, we do have the Bat communicator button, which he could press. And like I said, he essentially acts as a cell phone for Batman. He can communicate with who he needs to, used many times throughout the show. We have an adhesive Bat bomb, which is used in Season 2. We also get our first instance of a bat magnet, which is essentially a magnet tied to a rope, also used originally in Season 2. This is actually something I know some people use when they are fishing and they throw it into a pond to try to find lures they may have lost or other goodies on a creek bed or in a pond. We have a Batman X-ray deflector, which speaks for itself and essentially what it does. It deflects X-rays or radiation. You have the Bat magnifying glass, which he used several times. We have the Bat bullhorn, which is an interesting one. Again, this one I don't honestly remember when it was used, but it says in Season 2. Kind of an interesting one there. We have a Bat funnel and a Bat soup container, because you never know. When the job calls, you might get a little hungry, need a little Campbell's soup. You have a Bat file, and the Bat file can be used, of course, to file down jail bars, prison bars, anything like that. Ripping open chains, anything of such. You have an all-purpose Bat swatter, which I know is very famous for certain collectors to want to talk about. I honestly, again, this is one of the few on the entire vast array of things Batman has always kept in his utility belt. I cannot remember in Season 3 when this was ever used. You, of course, have the Deus Ex Machina universal drug antidote pill. Essentially, if Batman gets drugged, he can take that pill and he's magically cured. You gotta love that plot armor. You have anti-lethal fog spray, which is essentially a smoke grenade or smoke bomb. Anti-blast bat powder. You have Batnesia gas, which essentially is a forgetting gas where a person gets amnesia after getting in contact with the gas. We have a Bat gas tranquilizer spray, which I think he could use more in the show. This is one of my favorite ones, along with the smoke grenades that Batman can utilize, essentially knocking out his opponents non-lethally and also non-physically. And of course we have our Bat wake spray, which essentially wakes the person who's been knocked unconscious, allowing them to be obviously fully conscious. And last but not least, I gotta talk about the Bat shark repellent, my personal favorite from the 1966 movie Batman, where Batman actually happens to have a shark repellent canister, which he equips when he's being attacked by a small shark. And the funny thing here is, one, the shark looks ridiculously fake, and two, just the ridiculousness of the situation. Looking at it, if you can just take a joke and not take this Batman too seriously and just learn to have fun with it, it's just a great moment in Batman history, and you really have to appreciate it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in on this episode. I really appreciate it. I hope you really enjoyed it. And if you'd like more things like this where I can go into certain, different types of Batman, whether comic book versions, animated versions, or live action versions, I can break down the costumes, their Batmobiles, the Batcaves, the Wayne Manors, anything like that. I got a lot of things we could break down. So let me know what you guys want, and I absolutely can do it. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a happy Easter, and we'll see you then next time.